Good morning. If there is one thing that feels scary, that feels uncomfortable to talk about for me online, it has to be God, especially with the term God. Because I grew up atheist. Both of my parents are atheists. Both of them are kind of like anti Christianity. Not maybe as strongly as I ended up being, but neither of them are really like into church. We've never talked about things beyond what we know, what happens after we die, and is there a force out there greater than us? Never anything like that. Very rational, very science based. So it was never even really an option in some ways. So I grew up going to school. We would spend some time in churches. I'm baptized in the church, but of course that was when I was very young. And then when you're like 13 or something, you go through the confirmation. I didn't do that because everyone just did that to receive gifts from their family. Like it had nothing to do with God for 80% of the people. So I never did that because it felt I did not want to sit there and listen to some guy talk about God and whatnot just to receive gifts. So I didn't do that. So my only really interactions with the church would be baptisms, like when people were naming their kids, which wasn't really spiritual either. And I would really, I would always feel that so weird that some old man is taking their kid and putting it in water. But of course, I see all of that differently now. So my spiritual path started a bit more than a year ago when I joined an online program, and my mentor there, he started talking about God. And it was in a new way. It wasn't in the Christian way. It was in a different way. And since then, I've gotten closer and closer to God in my own ways, closer to the universe. So God for me right now means two things. One, it is the unconditional love that exists within us all, that connects us all, connects all beings. And then secondly, it's like the force of the universe. When we plant a seed, we don't have to actually make it grow. We just water it and it grows on its own, right? And that's what I see the force of the universe is. It is what's making everything happen. It's not why it happens. Why it happens is science. That's how I see it. We use science to understand why or how something is happening. But the fact that it's happening, like that is God. So those two perspectives is kind of how I view it. And I've connected a lot to A Course in Miracles, and this polarity between fear and love, and that when in creation, when humans were created and free will was created, that's when the polarity was born, and fear only exists as to be a polarity of love, because if fear doesn't exist, we cannot fully choose love. If fear didn't exist, love would not be a choice, and that would not align with free will. So that's kind of the basics, I think, for me. And I really like the course and how it speaks of prayer, of it's not asking for a man in the sky to change something, to do something. It's about calling upon the love within us to help us see things differently. Because when we are going through the world in a loving perception, that is when miracles happen. That is when we're attracting beautiful things and beautiful scenarios. So, yeah, I guess I wanted to come on here to talk about God, because I gotta be honest, I am scared to even use the word God on my social media because I am scared of the judgment that I used to place on people who use the word God on social media. And I know that is a threshold that I have to get over because God is literally everything. And I think I'm leaning more and more into my devotion to God, to live a life in alignment with God, with love, with unconditional love and the force of the universe, not controlling, not being in the ego, but to surrender and co-create with God, with the force of the universe, with love. And so it is. Yeah, so definitely facing a lot of fear there because it's hard. Like a part of me would really put that person in a box if there's someone who uses God all the time. But now, from my current perspective, that wouldn't define them at all. That would just mean that they've awoken to God, or like that they know. Sure, it can still mean a lot of different things. So it could still be the people that I judge maybe in like deep Christianity, deep in religion, which I feel in many ways have misunderstood God. But of course, that just isn't my truth. That doesn't align with my truth. So whatever brings you closer to God, brings you closer to acting a life out of love rather than fear. I'm happy about that. That's great. Whether it's Christianity, Islam, any other religion, anything really, whatever works for you works for you. But then I see, of course, there's still a lot of misunderstandings out there, misinterpretations of the Bible, of Jesus, of God, of all of it, which are grounded in fear, fear of judgment, for example. So then, yeah, maybe I still have some judgment there and something for me to explore, to fully embrace and accept that and allow that to exist and not judge. But yeah, we'll see how it goes with overcoming that fear of using the word God and in social media, especially on Instagram, where because all of my family, none of them have gone through this spiritual journey. None of them actually believe in God. I made these 2 journals for my parents, and some of the questions in there are about spirituality and believing in something greater than ourselves, but they haven't written in that journal yet. So we'll see if a day comes where I'll feel understood in my perception, my beliefs around God, and we'll see how they unfold as well for me. This is just the beginning, so a lot can happen. But yeah, so I want to get on here and talk about that today. I haven't really been posting the last few days, but so it is, and here I am. But I'll be going away on a ecstatic dance festival next week, so I don't know if I'll post then either, to be fair. But I'll just let this be. I'll just let this be a channel, an outlet for whenever I want to talk openly like this, and so it is. I love you guys. Peace.